Welcome back to the Diary of a Single Mum. To all you newcomers, my name is Marian Sheikh Hussein. And to all you people who have already been following me, watching my videos and engaging and just, Alhamdulillah, there's been so much engagement going on and I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you're all doing well. So let's wrap up, inshallah, to the video today. What the topic is going to be about is narcissistic mothers. So, from what I know, I feel like in our community, there is a prevalence of narcissistic mothers in our community, but I just feel like it's very difficult to talk about because when it comes to mothers, they're placed in high regard in our community, and mothers are so important. Of course, I agree that hoyo mahallaha is just hoyo, and the religion also states that hoya 3 times and then Abba 1 time. Basically, there's so much weight placed on mothers. There's so much high regard placed on mothers, which I think is amazing and it's justified. And I think it's really important for them to respect those who cared for them, those who nurtured them. And yes, it is something that is dying down in society today. But I also feel like on the flip side, there is a lot of suffering going on because a lot of parents from that came from back home haven't healed their traumas and their wounds, and some of them might have felt like they weren't able to achieve the dreams that they wanted to achieve in their life because they came here as refugees and they didn't really have the resources or the knowledge to be able to get themselves out of difficult circumstances. And also on top of that, there's a stigma also that was related to mental health issues, because I know that one of my aunties, Ilaha Una Haristo, she basically unalived herself because I think it was like 2003. She was really close to my mom. She unalived herself because at that time there was very limited knowledge about mental health. She lived in Norway that time, but there was very limited knowledge about mental health, and they kept discharging her when she was in fact someone who was very ill and needed some more help from the community. And what happened was, in the end, she ended up taking her own life. So the parents that came here, and then there was lack of resources, lack of knowledge. There's also stigma when it comes to depression, anxiety, and PTSD, and so many other things that our people came with when they came here. And instead of them going and seeking help, seeking medical help, and looking for means to do so, a lot of them haven't done that. Because people, when they're sick and when they're mentally unwell, sometimes they think to themselves that they're fine. Especially when it comes to narcissists, narcissists will not notice that they're narcissistic. There's a very small minority of them that will actually go to seek professional help. But even when they go to seek professional help, sometimes what they do is they use the therapy sessions to be able to learn how to become a better narcissist. It's not always the case that narcissists get better. And there are actually a lot of young girls out there that have narcissistic mothers and they don't know who to turn to and what to do. So, if we speak about narcissistic parents, what are the symptoms of what a narcissistic parent will do? A narcissistic parent to their daughter, I'm speaking about in the context of a narcissistic mother towards her daughter. So, in this context, what a mother will do is she will guilt her daughter. She will use manipulation tactics and she will use the gaslighting technique. So, for example, she said something to her daughter that was really degrading and hurt her daughter's feelings, or is causing her daughter to feel like she has a lack of self-worth. When the daughter comes, if she tries to go and speak to her mum about it, her mum will gaslight her and say, I didn't say that. Or she will say, it's because you are that, and that will make the daughter in turn feel like, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, I'm this, I'm this. Another symptom of what a narcissistic mother will do is she will pit the siblings against each other. For example, she is pushing the daughter out and she isolates her. So she treats her sons really well. And then what happens is, if the daughter goes to speak to her brothers about the abuse that she's facing with her mother, the brothers will probably brush it off and they'll just say, oh, but it's our mom. They'll say things like, oh, but mom is not like that, because they have completely different experiences of the parent, right? The mum is favoring her sons and she might not be favoring her daughters as much. When it comes to a narcissistic parent, they'll completely isolate the child. They'll be pick on one person and then they'll turn everybody against that person. And that could make the daughter feel extremely isolated. And on top of that, it's very difficult to seek help out in the Somali community, because it's like, if you speak about a narcissistic parent, or especially a narcissistic mother, that's a place that you can't go and touch. I feel like now we're coming and we're opening up about it more, but it's still a very triggering thing to talk about. A lot of people will just excuse the mother's behavior, and then the girl goes back home and she goes back into the pattern of abuse, hurt, betrayal, constant betrayal. There are so many other techniques. So there's also another technique where the narcissistic mother could be extremely jealous of her daughter and her beauty and her youth, and the fact that her daughter has a whole life ahead of her, and the mother might feel like, she didn't get to achieve that. So what she'll do is she'll try her best to keep her daughter down, or she'll try her best to make her daughter codependent on her, which means that they form this dependency where it's like the mother sees the daughter as an extension of herself, instead of seeing her daughter as her own human, at her own self, and wanting to nurture and raise the self-worth and the self-esteem that for her daughter, so that she can thrive in the future. No, a narcissistic mother doesn't want that. What she'll do is she'll degrade her daughter, she'll put her down, she will try her best to make the daughter have low self-esteem and low self-worth, so that she's dependent on the narcissistic mother and doesn't have a means to be able to get out of this situation, because the narcissistic mother uses the daughter as a fuel for her to feel a sense of power, and for her to feel like a narcissistic supply. She gets a supply from it every time she puts her daughter down and she shouts at her daughter. And if her daughter reacts, for example, one day and just has a mental breakdown and starts screaming and stuff like that, the mother will turn around and say, look, she's crazy. Look, asi at the height, asi at the height. And then everybody else will point the fingers at her, because there is a power dynamic when it comes to, there's a power hierarchy when it comes to the older people and the children, especially in our community. So it's like the eldest, like the grandmother, she's at the top, and then there's the mother. If you look at it in the household, for my household anyway, it's like my grandma is like the go-to person, and I absolutely love my grandma, but there are many homes where this person is given such a high regard and high status, and they're playing with that power, and they're using it to hurt their own children, which causes their children to feel extreme low self-worth. And it could even lead to, God forbid, but it could even lead to them having, unaliving ideations. So it's definitely something that, can be very dangerous. And I feel like a lot of things have improved now, but I'm talking about growing up. The things that I've seen and the things that I've encountered is mothers enabling their sons and making the daughter do everything, putting a lot of responsibility on the daughter and saying, Nin ma shaqeeyo. This guy doesn't do work. He's not supposed to do work. The girl is supposed to do everything. The girl is supposed to cater to the men's need. This doesn't always have to be a narcissistic mother, because I feel like this is something that's been embedded, in our culture, and it's something that's been done, so people sometimes just do it on autopilot innocently. But later what happens is the boys end up not having the skills and the tools to be able to navigate outside in society, because let's be real, like, nobody gives a shit about you out there. Nobody cares about you out there, mate. Like, if your mom was enabling you and you were getting fed with a silver spoon, outside there, it's not going to be like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, out there is cold. So sometimes what happens is it backfires, when the mother ends up, enabling her sons and raises her daughters. So, and also makes her daughters feel like, she's there to serve a man, which is quite, I feel like, it's definitely something that's changing right now, but it is something that we need to be aware of, because when you're raising sons as a mom, it's all, I can't even imagine, because I only have daughters, right? But I've literally seen it backfire. Like, I've seen boys turning into men, and because they were enabled, they turn to drugs, or they turn to be in the wrong crowd, because they don't have the skills to be able to navigate things. They don't have the confidence and the self-esteem. In my previous video, I showed you a little snippet of a guy of this expert, basically this psychologist, and he said, when you do things for your child all the time and you don't let them do things on their own, you're basically robbing their self-esteem, you're stealing their self-esteem, so they don't start building a health of self-esteem. So I can kind of see where this can lead to men building a sense of self-importance and grandiosity and a sense of, oh, I'm a man, I'm this, I'm that. But that is actually coming from an insecurity because they lack self-esteem, because they've been handed things to them, like things have been handed to them their whole life. Whereas young Somali girls I've seen, like, they're thriving, they're doing well, but sometimes it can mask itself as them trying to push and go towards success because they're trying to run away from their home, or they're trying to run away from where they came from so that they can become self-sufficient. And that is definitely, I feel like, something very positive, and I think it's great, because one of the ways to get out of being dependent on a narcissistic mother is healing and going on a journey where you can actually stand on your own 2 feet, because you are not going to be able to heal, baby, in the place that hurt you. Like, baby, you will not heal in the place that hurt you. Do you understand? Like, you won't heal in the place that made you sick. So you have to remove yourself, or make a plan to remove yourself from that place. And I'm not saying like leave your mum in the dust completely and this and this. At the end of the day, I feel like I wouldn't judge you and I wouldn't judge your choice. Like, if you have a narcissistic mother and she was very, abusive to you, and she made you feel so bad about yourself, and you can't be around her and it triggers you. I know in our religion it says that you have to contact your parents. Personally, for me, I can't lie to you, I wouldn't sit here and judge anyone that has been through that and decided to go no contact with their parents. And that is quite controversial in our community. Another thing, I feel like a tip that I could give you is surround yourself with a community. And it's very difficult because it's difficult for me. I'm creating my own community currently, but I've been alone for so long. And I feel like a part of the healing journey is loneliness. You feeling like you're alone, you being alone on this journey, because sometimes it feels like no one can understand your pain but you. But if you could go and expose yourself to like a religious gathering, or like a mosque or the gym, or somewhere where you feel like, or even studying, one of the core reasons why I decided to go back to uni is to be able to engage with other people, and speak to other people. Because if you're in isolation for too long, I saw somewhere where it said basically that isolation actually damages your brain. Like, it can damage some parts of your brain because you're not speaking and you're not engaging to people. And at my worst times, I'm one of those people, whenever I'm feeling really low or down in life, guys, like, I self-isolate. Like, I won't talk to anyone for like 3 weeks or even more, and I'll just go to school, pick up the kids, sit down, meditate, pray, do what I need to do. And then I sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, like, am I losing my social skills, But you have to continuously, slowly just expose yourself to places, just get fresh air, go for a walk, do things. And that will help you to kind of get out of the house. Educate yourself on narcissism. Educate yourself on what narcissism is, how a narcissistic parent functions. And, the fact that there's a very limited chance that this person's going to heal. Like, let's be real, you can't fix your mum. You cannot fix her. You cannot make her change now to be this loving mother, and it is very sad because it's like, we see this, it's like this happens to a lot of people in the community, but a lot of people are suffering in silence. A lot of girls are suffering in silence. I actually have received a few messages on my DMs on TikTok where, people were sharing some hardships, and a few of them was about narcissistic parents, and it was especially narcissistic mothers. And it honestly broke my heart, but just know that this person's not well. A narcissistic person, a narcissistic parent is not well. Like, she's not well, because what mother would say that about her child? What mother would intentionally want to hurt her child to the point where her child is fully dependent on her? If you're a good mom or you're a healthy mom, you will want your child to thrive in the future. And you'll try to embed the necessary tools into your child for them to be able to become their own person. You will give your child space to be their own person, and you are your own person as well, But a narcissistic mother's not well. So yeah, and I would say also, like, share with people who are closest to you, or someone who can help you in this situation, or give you good advice. Speak to people who are close to you. And if you don't have people who are close to you, try your best to seek out therapy sessions. I know that in the NHS you can only get up to, I think, 6 sessions of therapy, but there is somewhere where you can get referred to for extra counseling. And if you're going to uni or you're in college, tell someone and get some counseling for that as well. Like, do your best to actually like speak to someone about it. One thing that I would also say is be careful who you share your information with. So don't tell just anyone about your narcissistic mother and like how she hurts you and how she does this and how she does that, because there are actually some really toxic people out there that will use it against you. So don't just go around there and start talking badly about your mom. Like, personally, like, I can't lie to you, it's like when you're going on a date with someone or you're getting to know someone, imagine and you're speaking badly about your family. You say, I don't have any support, I don't have this, I don't. If this guy is a horrible guy, he can end up actually like playing on that and taking advantage of you because of the fact that you came from a broken home. But I just want to let you know, you're not broken. You are not broken, trust me. Your reaction is a result of what's happened to you. Do you know what I mean? And it's a healthy reaction to the thing that happened to you. So there's nothing wrong with you. A narcissist will make you feel like there's something wrong with you all the time. They'll make you feel like there is something wrong with you and that you need to constantly do this or you need to do that. And then that feeds into the wound of, I'm not good enough or I'm worthless. So I just want to say there's nothing wrong with you, and inshallah you can heal. Another point about educating yourself about narcissistic mothers in general is learn tactics on how you can speak to her from now on. So you're going to have to, unfortunately, it's very difficult because in many cultures, there's no such thing as boundaries, like, and especially when it comes to a narcissist, you setting boundaries with them, they will go off. So just be prepared for that. But I feel like it's very important that you set boundaries, or like, just try to stay away from this parent as much as you can. Like, go outside, and then do things that you need to do to help your parent as well. But like, try to limit exposure or contact to them. I know that there's this one method called the gray rock method. I'm gonna put it somewhere up here. But basically, the gray rock method is a way where you can speak to a narcissist and in a limited way, so that they don't know too much about you. Yeah, so things like avoiding eye contact when you're speaking, or telling them bits and pieces about yourself. So if they ask you a question, you give them short answers, respectfully, of course. You basically you just kind of like move away. If this person is inflicting pain on you guys, I'm sorry, like, you shouldn't be around this person, because they're gonna keep poking at the wound that needs to be healed. So you need to limit exposure to this person. And also, in grey rocking the person, in grey rocking your own parent, you might feel uncomfortable because that's your own mum, is your own mum, and you wish you could have that nurturing, that love, that care, that acceptance. But this person is unable to give you any of that. So educate yourself. There are so many YouTube videos out there. There are books, and there are things that you can read to understand your childhood trauma and understand how narcissistic parents operate. Some of the effects of having a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic mother is your relationship with women. It definitely affects your relationship with women, because if you have a mother who was narcissistic towards you, or showed you hatred, showed you envy, showed you jealousy, these things will seem normal to you. So you might make friends with girls who put you down as well, or girls who are toxic towards you in many different ways. There can be many different ways that someone is toxic towards you. A friend who's competing with you, a friend who's actually jealous of you and tells you, oh, you're not all that. Like, a friend who talks about you, a friend who betrays you and abandons you all the time, and you stay with her because you think, this is normal and this is what I deserve. So that's why I'm saying as well, it's so important that you read them books, that you read them articles, and that you educate yourself on narcissism and see how that plays out in your relationship with women. What it can also do is it can make you hate women as well, because you hate yourself now, because your mom made you kind of hate yourself by putting you down, by making you feel like there's something wrong with you. So you might also develop envy and jealousy towards other women. It's important that we become aware of this. You can heal, trust me. Because I feel like there's a lot of content demonizing people who are insecure, and I completely understand it, because people who are insecure need to chill. Did you know what I mean? Like, especially like people who act on their insecurity and put other people down and like literally go out of their way to envy others and this and this. But that doesn't have to be you. Just because you feel like that, it doesn't mean that you need to act on it. That's the thing about awareness. You can be aware of these things and not act on it. And things like journaling really help. So you can write things like, how do I feel today? Every single morning, check in with yourself. How do I feel today? However you feel, write it down. I feel anxious. I feel chaotic this morning. I feel this. I feel like I'm never going to get out of this house. I feel like I'm never going to finish my education. Write all those things down, and then write the things that you are grateful for. Or write yourself good affirmations, positive affirmations instead, that are flip side of what you just wrote. So for example, if I say I'm never going to finish my education, I can say, slowly but surely, if I take the right steps, I will be able to complete my education. And then you can write that down. But first, what you need to do is you need to literally mind dump everything, and then read them books and study and learn. And trust me, you can heal and you can move on from this situation without you being a narcissist yourself, right? And you can heal from all your insecurities. But the plan, I feel like, is to kind of remove yourself from the situations where that made you sick, that make you feel like you're not worthy, that make you feel like you're not worth anything. And I feel like it's such a shame, because it's like the community doesn't help. Sometimes if you tell your auntie or your uncle or a sibling, or just like people around you, if you was to ever share this thing, with them, like how you're feeling and how your parent is treating you, a lot of these people will just brush it off, and they'll just tell you, oh, maxaa kaa dhacay adiga horta, maxaa kuu dhacay, hooyadaada waaye, iska cafi, iska cafi, iska cafi, oo iska maxaa la dhahaa, waxay kuu sheegaysa samey, like maxaa dhacay, ayada maxaa ka qaldan horta. That's what people think. What's wrong with her horta? She's a asi. But that's not always the case. There are actually psychological issues that a person sometimes goes through, and that makes them treat their children like that. And they don't want to do better for themselves. They don't want to heal. There are narcissists, there are sociopaths, there are abusive parents. These people exist. You know what I mean? So instead of like putting like making it taboo, we need to actually face it and be like, okay, like this is actually happening. Like, and not every parent is gonna be good. I'm so sorry to say that. I'm so sorry. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna end my video here. If you like this content, please engage with me in the comments. Click like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on TikTok. Follow me on TikTok, guys. I'm gonna put the link on the thing. I don't know what to call it. The description. But anyways, guys, take care. I wish you all healing, happiness, love, good energy, inshallah. And every day is not going to be perfect. Just know that. Anyways, guys, love you. Bye.